We are born into a world of books, of classrooms and lectures, of wise voices telling us how things are. We are taught to gather, to collect, to fill the quiet rooms of our minds with facts and figures and truths passed down through generations. From our earliest days, we are encouraged to be a sponge, to soak up knowledge, to absorb the lessons of our parents, our teachers, our cultures. We are praised for what we know. We are defined by our opinions, our expertise, our titles, and we become very, very good at it. We build an intricate, towering city of knowledge inside our heads, a magnificent structure of beliefs, opinions, and certainties. It's what makes us feel safe. It's what makes us feel like we belong. But what if the most courageous act in a world saturated with information isn't to consume more? What if it's to intentionally let go? What if true wisdom is found not in filling the mind, but in emptying it? We think of our minds as hard drives, and we think that the more data we acquire, the more powerful we become. But what if we've been collecting digital junk? What if we've been saving old, corrupted files and outdated software? Think of the beliefs we inherited, the political views of our parents, the cultural biases we absorbed just by existing, the dogmas of our education systems. We accepted them without a second thought because they were presented as the foundation of reality. We were taught what to think long before we were ever taught how to think. And this isn't a neutral process. Every piece of information we acquire, every opinion we adopt, is a weight, a silent, invisible weight that we carry. We are like a ship trying to navigate a new ocean, but our cargo holds are full of old stones from the last port. We are heavy with the past. We are slow to turn. We are unable to fully appreciate the new waters we find ourselves in. Psychology has a term for the pain that comes from challenging these weights. It's called cognitive dissonance. It's the discomfort we feel when a new fact contradicts a deeply held belief. It's the unsettling sensation of a floorboard creaking beneath a structure we thought was unshakable. Our minds, in their infinite loyalty to their own structures, will do anything to avoid this feeling. They will ignore new information. They will twist logic. They will double down on the very beliefs that are causing the conflict. Because the mind doesn't want to be proven wrong. It wants to be proven right. And so we arrive at the great, silent paradox of our time. In an age of infinite information, what we need isn't more learning. We need the courage to unlearn. But how? How do you unlearn something that has become part of the very fiber of who you are? You begin by acknowledging the great teacher of ancient philosophy, skepticism, but not as a cynical habit, as a kind of spiritual practice. You become a Socratic archaeologist. You begin to dig into the foundations of your own beliefs. You don't ask, what is true? You ask, how do I know this to be true? Who told me? And what if they were wrong? You hold up every belief, every inherited wisdom to the light and ask it to justify its existence in your mind. This is the hard part. It's like cleaning out a house that has been inhabited for 100 years. You find things you didn't know were there. Old secrets, hidden fears, the ghosts of past arguments. You find the deeply held convictions that were never truly yours to begin with. This process is not just philosophical, it's profoundly biological. Your brain is a universe of its own, and it is capable of changing in ways we are only just beginning to understand. The scientific term is neuroplasticity. The beautiful, poetic truth is that your brain is not a static machine. It's a living forest. Think of it. For years, you've been walking the same paths. The path of a certain political view, the path of a specific cultural bias, the path of a long-held grudge. Every time you walk that path, the ruts get a little deeper. The mental habit becomes a little stronger. Unlearning is the act of walking a different way. It's the conscious decision to step off the path, to cut through the thick undergrowth, to forge a new route entirely. It's uncomfortable, it's slow, and at first you won't even know where you're going. This is where modern technology comes in a fascinating and contradictory way. The same tools that fill our minds with noise can be used to cultivate quiet. The same networks that reinforce our biases can be used to seek out dissenting voices, to find perspectives that challenge our deepest assumptions, to find the mental tools you need to forge that new path. But the journey of unlearning requires a different kind of courage. It requires the courage to get lost. Because here is the great, terrifying climax of this inner journey. The moment you've been working toward and the moment you've been most afraid of. What happens when you've swept away the inherited dust? When you've questioned your deepest convictions? When you've walked away from the well-trodden paths of your mental forest? What you are left with is a void, an empty room, a blank canvas where a masterpiece used to be. And for a mind that is so used to being full, this emptiness is terrifying. This is the gentle, existential unease. It's the feeling that comes when you've pulled the rug out from under your own identity. If you no longer hold the beliefs you once did, if the opinions you had were not truly your own, then who are you? What are you? The human spirit recoils from this void. We are hardwired to seek certainty, to have a solid ground beneath our feet, and the process of unlearning can feel like stepping into a vast, silent abyss with nothing to hold on to. It's the moment you realize that the person you thought you were was, in part, a beautiful fabrication built from the beliefs of others, and the thought is terrifying, but only because we've been taught to be afraid of it. What if the void isn't an ending? What if it's the beginning of everything? What if the true purpose of unlearning is not to become empty, but to become a beginner again? To see the world with the innocent, unburdened eyes of a child. To look at a tree, not as a botanical classification, but as an elegant, breathing sculpture of wood and leaves. To listen to a human story, not with the filter of judgment and prejudice, but with a pure, unadulterated curiosity. The act of unlearning is the greatest form of freedom we can grant ourselves. It's the permission to build a new life, a new identity, a new reality, on our own terms. It's the ability to fill that blank canvas with a masterpiece that you, and only you, have created. It is the courage to admit that you don't know, to stand at the threshold of a great mystery, not with fear, but with awe. Perhaps the journey isn't about finding yourself. Perhaps the journey is about losing yourself, about shedding every mask, every title, every inherited belief, until all that's left is a silent, quiet, empty space. And in that space, in that great, silent void, you can finally begin to hear the sound of your own voice, the one that was there all along, beneath the noise,